around.
There you go, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, how are you? Hello, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, hello. Nice to meet you. Hello. Buongiorno, buongiorno, buongiorno. Ciao! You all speak English?
No.
No!
Dina's going to translate for them.
You're going to translate for them?
Yes.
I want to make sure I get this right. Hang on a second. Sono molto felice di stare qui con voi. How are you? It's very nice to see you. It's been a fantastic week here. And, of course it's been. DeepCon 13. I'll give you a little history of DeepCon, okay? First year, Star Trek. Second year, Star Trek. Third year, Star Trek. 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 Stargate. The Renaissance begins. Hello. Why has it taken you so long to get someone from Stargate?
Oh, we had Peter Williams,
Oh, okay. When was Peter Williams?
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
No.
That was the glimmer.
No.
Perestroika. Yes, hello. My name is David Nykl. I play Dr. Radek Zelenka on Stargate Atlantis. How many of you have seen Stargate Atlantis? Seen the show? Oh, come on. You've seen the show. Okay. Have you seen Stargate SG-1?
Yeah.
You've seen that one? Yes, you're more happy about that, aren't you? Stargate Atlantis is filmed in Vancouver. That's where I live. I was born in Prague, but I grew up in Vancouver. And throughout the 90s, I was back in Prague running a theater company. So I was doing mostly theater throughout the 90s. When I returned back to Prague, when I returned back to Vancouver in 1999, in 2003 I was cast in Stargate, and that's when it all began. I don't know if you're familiar, I'll just give you a very brief overview of the show, because there's a few people that haven't seen it. The basic premise of, am I going too fast? The basic premise is that it's a wormhole, right? The gate. The Stargate. And in Atlantis, our show began with the fact that we found one under the ice in the Antarctic. And it was a one-way trip to the Pegasus Galaxy, 60 million light years away. You think you have a long way to go to work. Thank you, Mark. We came to the Pegasus Galaxy, and it was a one-way ticket. You could only go there, you could not come back. That's the premise of it. So it was 5 years. We shot it all in Vancouver. I was very lucky. It was very close to my house, so I could ride my bike there. Bike through the wormhole for 60 million years. 60 million years. That's a good way to travel. It's a good way to travel. So, I don't know, do you have any questions we want to talk about?
Domande?
No, nothing. Oh, this is easy.
Okay, David, tell us a little bit about your theater experience.
A little bit about the theater, absolutely. I graduated from theater in University of British Columbia in Vancouver in 1989, and it was just before the wall came down in Eastern Europe. I came out to, we did a production of Waiting for Godot in Vancouver. Yeah, it was one of my favorite plays. We did Waiting for Godot, and I took it to Prague. It was in 1990 at that time. It was just, the wall had just come down. It was an amazing time to be there. I ended up coming back to Vancouver, but I returned back in 92. I was cast in Schaeffer's Royal Hunt of the Sun, which is another play that was working out there. And during those times, I met someone who was a clown from the Ringling Brothers Circus in Prague, and we got together and we started a theater company. And we became the largest English language theater company in Graz. in Prague, in Eastern Europe. So I was there for most of 9 years, from 92 to 99. You're very fast. So we did, yeah, it was the theater is very different in Prague than it is in North America. It was, I suspect it's the same this year. It was a repertory system.
Yeah.
So we were able to do several plays at once. So most of my experience in theater has been in repertory systems, which is it's fantastic for actors. It's a great way. And then on top of that, I mean, then when Stargate came along, it was an opportunity to really practice and to learn the technical aspect of acting, because it's very difficult. You know, we do 8-9 pages a day with Stargate, and that's starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you work oftentimes till 9-10 o'clock at night doing it. And it's a technical job. It's all about hitting your marks and knowing what the camera angles are.
Which is the main difference between, playing in theater and playing in a TV series?
The way it's broken up, of course, right? The life of an actor on stage, you have an interaction with the audience. You always work with the audience. You know who it is, and you're working on a character in a particular play, so you can develop that completely. Whereas with Stargate, what was difficult is because it's all bits and pieces all over the place, so it gets mixed up with all the different other episodes. You understanding? So you do one episode. Usually we shoot an episode in 8 days. 8 days, yeah. It takes 8 days of filming, which is very little, considering that they then do 2 or 3 months of post-production on average for Stargate. I mean, it's insane. Just the sound, just the mixing board for the sound is 64 channels, and 16 of which is just the sounds of the city. So there's a lot of post-production that goes into the production. Got it? No? No, she's just taking a picture. I have a question. Yeah. Is Stargate? Let me ask you a question. Stargate is here on television?
Not now.
Not anymore.
Su Sky sì.
At internet.
Su Sky sì. Su sapete vengono adesso. Su Sky sì.
Rapporti? How did you get along with your, co-stars?
They're horrible. They're horrible. It was great. I wasn't in every single show. We did 100 episodes. Stargate last 5 years. 100 episodes. So I was in 58. So 58%. Almost half of them. My part, I was sort of the scientist that worked with David Hewlett, with Rodney McKay, and so it's very much a boss and a worker sort of relationship. Competition, exactly. That's a nice way to put it. That's a friendly way to put it. But they're great actors. We were really lucky. We had a great crew. I mean, everybody always talks about that it's a fantastic thing. But when you're at your work for 16 hours every day, you become like a family. You become like a family because you're there and you're running your lines. And oftentimes you get your lines the night before, and you have to learn them the next day. The long technical babble. Techno babble.
David, Zelenka is Czech.
Zelenka is Czech.
Because
I've never had Shrek translate for me.
Zelenka is Czech because they chose you?
Yes. Well, when the character first started, they wanted Eastern European scientists. Right? Russia, Poland, it's all the same thing. They didn't mind. So it's all the same thing, right? Someone from Eastern Europe, especially in Canada, doesn't it? It's all the same thing. So the character was originally Nykl, was a Russian scientist. So when I came along, and they, because I speak Czech at home, we speak with their family, and I was lucky because when my parents immigrated to Canada after the Prague Spring in 1968, I was like this big. My mother spoke Czech to me. Many immigrants spoke English to their children so they would learn English. But I was lucky when my parents spoke Czech to me, so I learned the language, and I held on to it. I'm very happy for that. So when the directors, when the producers found out that I was Czech and I got the part, they changed the name from Kapov to Zelenka. Yeah. And Zelenka is a very typical Czech name. It's very much it's Dr. Green. Actually, Zeleny is green, sort of, right?
And you spoke Czech.
And we spoke Czech. So most of the, and I don't know what the dubbing sounds like. Do they dub it here? Because in English I speak with the Russian, with the Czech accent. I speak a little bit like this. So I don't.
They dub it with a little strange accent.
A little strange accent? What kind?
detto che quando lui parla, quando lui recita, deve avere un certo...
Like it's a general
quindi
sort
se
of...
parlo così,
They do give me an
mi
accent?
capite lo stesso quando parlo
Just a little bit.
Very strong accent.
Is it?
No, not so strong.
No,
No,
No?
not so strong.
It's always interesting to see in dubbing in other languages. But the thing is that when I was, when they found out that I was Czech, so a lot of the times when I would get angry, pissed off at McCain, they would say swears in Czech. in the script, they would just put swears in Czech. And I could say anything. Anything, and I did.
Okay, translate,
So if you-
translate what you say.
So if you, I can't swear in Italian. But if you listen to the original, if you get the DVDs and you listen to the original, and you see me talking there, it's 100% Czech swearing. So if you go to Prague and you have bad service in a restaurant, I'll teach you some words you can use. I'll teach you some words you can use for the waiters over there. But yeah, everything. I mean, I was saying everything. And now they're playing it. Now they're playing it in the Czech Republic. And the irony is they're dubbing me into Czech. So. They're dubbing me into Czech. So I don't know what they expect out of that.
Oh, and the bad words are in English.
Yeah, the bad words are in English. Yeah, flipped around.
Hi. Hi. So what can you tell us? I'd like to know more about your experience as a bilingual actor, because it's definitely something unusual in the American film industry, maybe less so in the Canadian, obviously, because of the French-English thing. But it seems to me like a great tool that you've got to explore working both in Prague and then again in America. I know, using two languages, being an actor in two languages. Was it something that you really enjoyed? Did it make a difference in your career?
No. And it's a good question, because I think people are much more sensitive to language here in Europe. You know, in a continent like this where they have so many different languages. In North America, it's English. With a little bit of Spanish in the south and a little bit of French in the east, in Quebec. So, being bilingual as an actor in North America, I mean, I get called out for parts for Eastern European characters. Maybe that's about the thing. But it's very rare that you'll get something that's Czech. Right? I speak a little bit of French too. If you do speak French, they'll go to Quebec to get actors from Quebec. They won't go to Vancouver. No, they won't do that. So, unfortunately, language isn't that. It's just isn't that thought about as a concept, or the idea that people speak different languages. And Atlantis was, what I liked about the idea with it as Atlantis is that when we discovered the wormhole and we went to the Pegasus Galaxy, we were supposed to be a team of international scientists, right? We had flags on our shoulders, Czech, we had Scottish, we had Australian, we had you know, all the Italian even, but they didn't use it that much. They didn't use it that much. It was all sort of being a hero, and it was the idea of the team, and it was a shame because, you know, everywhere you go in space, everybody speaks English, right? So it's kind of an anomaly that there's someone, you know, in space that speaks another language. And I thought that's interesting. That's a very interesting thing to have, you know, a foreign language, especially if you have an international team, because that's realistic. You're going to have people speaking different languages, especially in space where you have different races and different creatures and that. But no, there's this premise, I think, that, you know, like Isaac Asimov, that the idea that everyone has an automatic translator. Doesn't matter what we speak, it all goes into English. Yeah.
No, devo sapere che lavoro stai facendo adesso, che progetti hai?
What are you doing now as you work on your future projects?
I'm having lunch. I'm going Il dolce vita. It's amazing. Oh yes, but I will have to wake up to reality when I come home. I just finished, literally 2 days before I flew here, I was up in the north of, well, not north, about 500 kilometers, nothing. In the interior, we were filming a Christmas movie with Dan Payne. He's an actor also on the Stargate franchise. He's a big tall guy. He plays the Wraith. Those guys. And it was a Christmas movie, so that was very fun. It was freezing. We did mostly night shoots. We shot at night, and it was minus 11 degrees. Kind of like it was here a few weeks ago. So it was called A Christmas Miracle. That one, and a new sci-fi series being shot in Vancouver called Continuum, which is set in the future. 70, 75 years into the future, corporations have taken over the world. That'd be an interesting project. I'm doing that. I do theater when I have a chance to. I've directed theater. I like directing children's theater. I do a lot of that. That's always fun because you can do anything in children's theater and people don't judge you. You can have a lot of fun with it. So I enjoy doing that. It's a different world in Vancouver than it is in Hollywood for actors. Smaller community, and many of the productions that come from Los Angeles come to Vancouver because the dollar is weaker. Right? Not anymore. You know, the dollar is now the same. But almost anything that you see in sci-fi, X-Files, Andromeda, Battlestar Galactica, Stargate, both Stargate franchises, it's all shot there because every dollar they spend, they can put it up on screen. They don't have to spend on. Plus, the union and actors' wages are less in Canada. Yes. I'm not Bruce Boxleitner. Sorry, ladies. It's so much fun. It's like they're 18 years old. I want to have some Italian fans. Will you do that for me tonight at the bar, okay? Yeah. You have to all come around me and then ignore Bruce. Okay, you guys, yeah. And Bruce will be, hey, what happened?
You do realize you look a little bit like Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, oh my goodness.
Hugh Jackman. Che ci assomiglia un po'.
Really?
Hugh Jackman.
Did I turn it off? Oh, it's the batteries.
I will talk louder.
Yeah, it's a different world. Acting, it's a smaller community in Vancouver. Most of the actors know each other. It's not so image conscious as Hollywood. It's not so much that much of a competition. I see friends of mine at auditions all the time. I work with these people all the time. It's a smaller group, and most everybody does sci-fi, especially the tall actors. Yeah. Well, so Dan Payne, for example, he's 6 feet tall. I have friends, for example, that have worked with me on Stargate, and I had no idea, because they get there at 4 o'clock in the morning and they get the makeup on for the Wraith, and then all day they sort of you're walking around and they're like hello, and then you see them eating their lunch, You can't take that mask off with the contact lenses. And then afterwards, I see them and I go, "Oh, it was nice working with you on Stargate." I thought, no, I was the Wraith. That was you.
Would you ever accept to play with a heavy makeup on?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's part of the job. It's part of the job. I mean, it's never comfortable. I was very lucky with Zelenka because it was 5 minutes. It was this with my glasses on and start. But some actors have a lot of makeup. I did on Eureka. I played a scientist who was blind and had to have the contact lenses when you can't see anything. And that's just horrible when you take away this one sense, and you have to be taken to your farm to do those things. But I was very lucky with Zelenka. There was no makeup, just the Czech accent.
That was easy.
That was easy. Sometimes I would forget too.
Apart from the languages, which are the other differences according to you between Europe and the United States?
Oh my goodness, I could go on forever. No, I live my life between both cultures, right? And so, I mean, the differences are everywhere and yet they're nowhere. On the one side, we are becoming more globalized. Everything is more similar. And then on the other side, we are developing our own habits quite far apart from each other. The internet and Facebook is also an interesting phenomenon because it is isolating us, and yet it is bringing us together in this odd way that I don't think we know yet how it's happening. The fact that I'm here speaking English to you is an example of that. It's the globalization of the language, and yet the secularization of culture. Generally, there's a saying that says, in Canada, 500 kilometers is nothing and 500 years is everything. And in Europe, 500 kilometers is everything and 500 years is nothing. And in some senses that's true. There's more of a cultural identity, obviously. There's Italy, there's Spain, and in Vancouver you have Little Italy, Little Spain, Japan. And you have a mixture. You have Asia, you have Europe on the one side, and you have a huge influence from America. Okay, we live half an hour from the American border, so all of the television, all of the culture, all of the news is American. So consider that when the movies are released, they consider Canada one of the states. They count it as one of the states, right? So Canada has a bit of a problem. That's why everyone says you're from America. So no, it's that's why there is that sort of difference in that. It's also, I mean, I live in that world. Canada is a lot like a parking lot. You have cars from all over the world that come there. It's more difficult to come here. You have to learn the language, and even, like you said, you have to be 7 generations in Rome before you're considered Roman. it is very rare to have someone in Vancouver who's their second generation. People come. It's a very young country. It's very, very young, and so it's still being created. And it's also very regional. I could go on forever. I'm sorry. It's also very regional. I mean, Vancouver is entirely different than Toronto. Very different than Nova Scotia, and completely different than California and other places like that. I don't know, so I'll keep going.
In inglese, grazie.
No, in Svizzera, grazie. In svizzerano.
Avrei una domanda importante per il nostro ospite. You mentioned earlier the influence of Facebook and the internet. How do you manage your internet image, so to speak? Do you if you go on Twitter or Facebook, do you manage it yourself? Do you have someone who does it for you? How would you cope with that kind of thing? Has it affected your life?
A little bit. I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I mean, I started doing it in long time ago in the year 2000. And I started with a blog. And that was my idea of communicating with the family. When Facebook came along, I didn't know what to make of it, like as many people didn't. And now that I am on it, and I have a group of friends on it, not too many, and I still haven't gone on Twitter. So I do communicate through. I think it's important to have communication. I think it's dangerous to have instant communication. I think that's the problem. I think that's where Twitter is becoming a little dangerous, because you can be very impulsive, and a bunch of impulses don't necessarily make a character. They could take you astray. So because I think it's very important how you communicate with people, or what you say to them, and I think the best way is to come out and visit them, and to see them, and to talk to them. You know, who cares what I had for lunch, and it was very good. But it's not me. It's two different things to the job. There's being an actor, and then there's so-called being a celebrity. And the celebrity aspect of it is still kind of, I still feel kind of uncomfortable with it. It's still odd. It's not that I don't like people, or that I'm a misanthrope, or by any stretch, but it's because my job is like breathing. It's just what I love to do. It's the only thing I like to do. And to be thanked for it seems to be ridiculous. I was lucky. I was lucky that I could be in your living room doing this show, but it's not really anything I have done. I was chosen, right? And that's the difference. And I would be practicing acting even if I wasn't on Stargate, and I wouldn't be talking to you, right? So it's the idea that you are a celebrity is. I've gotten used to it now, but at first I didn't know what to do with that. Do you know what I mean? It's also my